Good morning, everyone. In last lecture, we have completed our first unit of business environment, and now we are moving towards the second unit of our subject, that is LPG, means liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Let us see the introduction first. The economy of India had undergone significant policy shifts in the beginning of the 1990s. This new model of economic reform is commonly known as LPG, or liberalization, privatization, and globalization model. See what is written here, that India had done a policy shift. What do you mean by policy shift? You know that economic systems are of three types, that is capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy. From 1947, from the day we got independence, we have adopted the mixed economy. What kind of mixed economy? Simply means the mixture of capitalism and socialism. What do you mean by capitalism? Capitalism simply means the freedom is given to the public. The resources of production is owned by the public, and there is a full freedom to the public for deciding what to produce, when to produce, how much to produce, and at what price to sell. Whereas, what is socialism? Socialism simply means the resources of production are owned by government, and every decision related to production means what to produce, when to produce, how much to produce, and at what price to sell. Everything will be decided by government. So there is a zero freedom to the public. And we have adopted mixed economy, means we are following partially capitalism and partially socialism. But in 1990s, what kind of mixture we were following? Then initially we were following the mixed economy, where a more component of socialism was there and less freedom was given to the public, so less mixture of capitalism. But after 1990s, we have adopted the system where we are having more of capitalism and less of socialism. So in another words, I can say that before 1990s, the Indian economy was regulated, strictly regulated by the government. But after 1990s, government has given more and more freedom to the public, so there is a less intervention after 1990s. So this is the policy shift that India has done in 1990s. Earlier, we were following mixed economy, which was more of capitalism and less of socialism. Sorry, more of socialism and less of capitalism. And after 1990s, we are having economic system which is more of capitalism and less of socialism. In 1990s, what policy shift we have adopted? The turn we have the activity, the process by which we have converted this economy, that policy is known as LPG policy. Now question may be there, that earlier our system was quite different and now we have changed our system. So what are the reasons why there is a need to change the system? Now let us see that why India has adopted LPG policy. Means let us see the reasons for adoption of LPG policy. This is the history, this is the situation at the time of 1990s. The first reason is fiscal deficit was 5.4% of gross domestic product in 1981 to 1982, which rose up to 8.4% in the year 1990-1991. See, what do you mean by fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit simply means a deficit which we are showing in the budget. Fiscal deficit, we can term it as when government earns less and spends more, that is known as a fiscal deficit. What are the revenue of government? Government earns from the tax collection, and government spends for the development of welfare and infrastructural facilities. So when government earns less and spends more, so there is a deficit in the budget. That deficit is known as a fiscal deficit. See, economists are of opinion that a very small dose of fiscal deficit is required for the development of the country. So it should move around 1 to 3%, minimum 1%, maximum 3%. But already we are having the highest deficit, we can say higher deficit, that is 5.4%. In 1981-82, the deficit was of 5.4% and which rose to 8.4% in 1991. See, when government can earn less and spend more, if you don't have income, then how can you spend more? By taking loan only, yes or no? So when you have taken loan, your interest liability will also increase, and you are already running into deficit, you are already making loss. So this is not a good sign of the economy. Your economy is not having development, you are having a bad days in the economy. Secondly, it is written that in 1991, the amount of interest liabilities rose further to 36.4% of total government expenditure. Earlier, I also told you that how government can spend more by taking loan, and from whom our government has taken loan, that is from the World Bank and WTO. So, when we have taken loan, definitely we need to pay interest on the same, and as our fiscal deficit increased, the amount of loan was also increased, and as a result, the amount of interest was also increased. So, how much total amount of interest was there? If we compare the ratio of interest in the total expenditure of government, then it is 36.4%. In another words, I can say like this: if government spends 100 rupees, then out of 100 rupees, 36.4 rupees is given to the interest as a payment of interest, and only 64 rupees will be used for the welfare as activity only. So out of 100, 36% was the debt, we can say like this. Thirdly, it is written that country was moving towards debt trap, mounting adverse balance of payment. See, what is balance of payment? Balance of payment is a statement where we are recording our transaction, a country's transaction with another country. Means monetary inflow and monetary outflow is recorded in the statement. In another word, if I will describe, then balance of payment, on one side we are writing the export, and on another side we are writing import. But export and import is not the only component that is written on the balance of payment. If any monetary transaction, means you can say cash inflow in the country and cash outflow in the country, is written on the balance of payment. This monetary transaction is always in a foreign currency, because the transaction that we are doing with another country, that are recorded in balance of payment. So it is like our P&L account only. On one side we are recording expenses, and on another side we are recording the receipt. Same is the case with balance of payment. On one side we are writing cash receipt, means cash inflow, and on another side we are writing cash outflow. So when you will match cash inflow and outflow, there will be three kind of balance. Either cash inflow is more than cash outflow, it means profit, or cash inflow is less than cash outflow, means loss, or cash inflow and cash outflow are same. If it is same, then there is no need of worry. But if our cash inflow is less than cash outflow, it means we are having loss. In other words, in the terminology of balance of payment, we can call it as adverse balance of payment, means negative balance of payment. It means our export is less and import is more. This was the situation during 1990s. Another reason is fall in the foreign exchange reserve. Definitely, if our balance of payment is negative, means our income is less and expenditure is more, our loan is more, and we are not able to pay the interest, then our foreign exchange reserve is less. Then next reason is rise in the prices. Rise in the prices, in the simple economical terminology, we term it as inflation. It was the historic period during 1990s that India was having the inflation rate at 13.84 percentage. I am repeating, 13.84 percentage. It was such a highest inflation rate. You know that what happens in the inflation, the price of every goods and services increases and the income of people is not increasing, so they are having a reduction in the standard of living. So all are the reasons which leads to the negative side of our economy. Though these reasons are not over, now let us see the another reasons. Poor performance of public sector undertaking. See, in India, you know that there are two types of businesses. One is public sector and second is private sector. If you go in the classification deeper and deeper, then there are many types of business houses, but for the sake of simplicity, let us keep two types of business undertaking, that is public sector undertaking and private sector undertaking. What do you mean by public sector undertaking? Simply means any business which is owned by government, that is known as public sector undertaking, and private sector undertaking simply means which is owned by private public of the population. Here it is written that poor performance of public sector. See, what happened that you know that so many government companies are there. If I will name you, that Air India is there, BSNL, MTNL, these are the top three public sector which is incurring losses. If they are incurring losses, then what will happen? Is it a bad sign? Definitely it is a bad sign. Why? Because if public sector is incurring losses, we need to set it off. A loss making unit cannot survive. We need to give them more money to come out of loss and to earn profit, so government will increase the tax rate, so finally burden will be switched over to the population. So again, it is a negative sign of our economy. Then first Gulf War caused spikes in oil prices, which caused a major balance of payment crisis of India. See, in last slide we have seen that India was facing adverse balance of payment, means our export was less and import was more. If we look at our import, then the major part of our import is kept by petrol only. We are in our total import, the major portion is kept by petrol, and we are importing petrol from the Gulf countries. You have seen the movie Airlift, where the war between Iraq and Kuwait was shown. See, what was the first Gulf War? Gulf War was happened between the two countries, Iraq and Kuwait, and Iraq has taken charge of the Kuwait, and as a rescue, USA came into the picture, and rest was the history. It was a time of war, so the trading activity of this country were disturbed. Definitely they were not exporting the petrol, crude oil during that period. So the supply of crude oil in the total globe was less and demand was keep on increasing and increasing. So what happened? Supply is less and demand is more, raising to the price, leading to the price rise of a petrol in a total globe. So that first Gulf War was during the 2nd August 1990s and continued up to 28th February 1991. It was the period of 1990s. We were already importing petrol, and which was increasing our adverse balance of payment, and another hit to our balance of payment was done by Gulf War because of hike in the price of petrol. Then next reason is India asked for the 1.8 billion bailout loan from IMF, in return demanded reform. See, these are the reasons why India has taken the LPG measures. I have given you the reasons that India was lacking foreign exchange, India was not developing, our inflation rate was high, all the negative sign was prevailing in India. I can say that during 1990s, the Indian economy was on a ventilation, and to have recovery of our economy, for the improvement of the health of our economy, the government then in the ruling has taken up one of the action. They have taken loan from the IMF. I am repeating again, in past also I have taken loan from the IMF and World Bank, and in 1991 Another time we went for taking loan from the IMF, but this time what kind of loan we have taken? That loan is known as a bailout loan. What do you mean by bailout loan? Bailout loan simply means the reimbursement is not compulsory, means paying back the loan to the IMF is not compulsory. And on which situation this kind of loan is given? When country is about to declare as a bankrupt, when a company is about to declare bankrupt, when the total situation is going bad, at that time as a help we can say they have given us a donation of $1.8 billion as a bailout loan. India need not to pay back it to the IMF. Bailout loan can be term can be like this also. So they have given us a donation, I can term. Then in return what they have demanded? They are not demanding interest, they are not demanding the capital back, but they are saying that you reform your country. Your country is not having a development, rather you are having underdevelopment. So change the policy, change your economic system, so that you need to gear up the development ratio of your country. And as a result, then government has taken the step as LPG. The government at that time was Narasimha Rao and finance minister, that is Manmohan Singh. That is what written here. This new economic policy was inaugurated by former Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao. At that time, the Prime Minister was Narasimha Rao, and the guidance is FM, means Finance Minister Manmohan Singh. So this was the person who has initiated LPG policy in India. So now hope you got the reason that why we have adopted LPG policy, because we have taken loan from the IMF, and IMF has put the condition to change our economic system, and as a result the government has initiated LPG reforms. Again I am giving the meaning, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization. Now let us see the first part of LPG policy, that is liberalization. Liberalization introduction. Liberalization befalls when something which was forbidden is no longer forbidden, or when government laws are loosened. See what is written here, which was forbidden means which was restricted, which was stopped in the past. Now for the same permission is given. Now it is not forbidden, now it is not stopped, now permission is not required. Let me give reason, some of the example. Before 1991, to start any business there was some restriction, but now to start any business there is no restriction. So this can be termed as liberalization. If you see the dictionary meaning of liberalization, liberal means what? Means loose, or one who is not strict, that can be termed as liberal. So liberalization simply means when government's rules and regulations are very loosened, when government is not strict regarding following rules and regulations, then it is known as liberalization. Liberalization refers to the relaxation of government restriction in areas of economic policies. Again, I am repeating that in before 1991, economic system of India was of more of socialism and less of capitalism, and means at that time there was a less freedom to the people. So now as a liberalization, the need is to give more freedom to the public, and as a result we have adopted mixed economy, which is more of capitalism and less of socialism. So relaxation in the economic policy. What kind of economic policies? Industrial policy is there, tax policies are there, we will see in detail. In that policies relaxation is given by government. Thus when government liberalizes trade, it means it has removed the tariff, subsidies and other restrictions on the flow of goods and services between the countries. What is written here? Liberalizing the trade means earlier doing trading transaction, doing business transaction was quite restricted, but now there is a liberal norms for doing trade transaction. So what government has done? Government has removed tariff. Tariff simply means any tax that government levies takes on the import and export of goods and services. So generally the tax is taken on the imported goods only, not on the exported goods. Subsidies are generally given to the exported goods, and other restrictions like quota on the flow of goods and services between the countries. So what was the situation earlier? Government was charging high import duty, so import was less. Government was giving subsidy for exporting the goods, so the government was trying to improve our export. And there was a quota simply means a restriction that more than that, so say for example 1000 is the quota, then more than 1000 you cannot import 1001 unit. So by quota it was for restriction of import. This all was done because our economy was earlier closed, and now we need to be the liberal. So now there is a less amount of tariff, no subsidies are given to the export, and no quotas are there. It means government is not discouraging the import and even not encouraging the export. Now the behavior, attitude of government towards import and export can be as neutral. See, the amount of tariff, I can give you example that before 1991, the import duty was 255 percentage. So if the price of the any good is 100 rupees, you can purchase it in 355 rupees. That much high import duty was there. But after 1991, there was a gradual decline in the import duty, and now it is around 40 to 50%. This figure we will see when we will talk about globalization, but up till now you just keep in mind that earlier it was 255% and now it is only 40 to 50%. So our government is losing the tax reforms, government is liberal about the tax payment. Now, meaning of liberalization. Here, meaning of liberalization doesn't mean the definition of liberalization, but as a part of liberalization, what steps government has taken. The first step is dismantling of industrial licensing system built over the previous 4 decades. See, you know that license Raj. What do you mean by license Raj? Before 1991, if you wanted to start any industry, if you wanted to start any business, license was required. You need to take license from the government, and the process of taking license was quite lengthy, and even after following the lengthy procedure to get the license is not easy. You need to put weight on your file. I am I am repeating again, you need to put weight on your file. Simply means you need to give bribe to the government officials for issuing you the license. So who can give the bribe? Who is financially rich, who can afford to pay the bribe? If you have money, then there will be no need of doing business. At least we can say like this. And why people are generally doing business? Because they want to earn, they don't have money. So because poor people cannot offer bribe, they cannot get license and they cannot start the business, and as a result in India the business procedure was quite less. The number of business formation was very less, and due to that reason the Indian growth rate was very less. So what government has done, they have just cancelled. Dismantling means what? Just cancelling the industrial licensing policy. It means now if you want to start any industry, only registration is required, but license is not required, and as a result corruption was moved from the root. Then next one is reduction in the physical restrictions on imports and reduction also in the rate of import duties. The second step is about import. What do you mean by physical restriction? Physical restriction simply means quota. Quota simply means the limit beyond which you cannot import. Again, I am giving you the example. Suppose you want to import watch and government has given you the quota of 1000 unit. Means more than 1000 units you cannot import. So generally quota is framed in such a way to reduce import from another country. The second was rate of import duty. Introduction also I told you that earlier the rate of import duty was 255% and now it is only 40 to 50%. Now quota is also removed and tariff is also reduced. Then third step is reform of financial system. See what kind of financial system reform was there. See, a financial system generally related to financial sector of the economy. You have learned monetary policy, there you have learned the statutory reserve ratio and cash reserve ratio. Let me give the brief idea about the reforms that Indian government has done. See, what was there before 1991? If bank is taking loan of rupees 100, for the sake of simplicity, I am giving you the amount small. Bank is deposit means you are depositing 100 rupee with bank and bank can give loan from this 100 rupee only, but bank cannot give loan of 100 rupee. Bank has to keep some amount as a security with themselves only. Out of 100 they need to keep 40 to 50 rupees with them, so only loanable amount will be 50 to 60 rupees only. And by that way the less money was there in a market because bank was giving less loan. If less money will flow in the market, then definitely it will affect the number of transaction. The number of transaction will be lessened and the developmental process will also be lessened. So what financial reforms were there? Now government has reduced this cash reserve ratio and statutory reserve ratio. It means out of 100 rupee now 90 rupees 90 to 95 rupees can be used as a loanable fund. Now bank need to keep only 5 rupees, so more amount of money is flowing in a market, and by that way number of business transaction can be increased. Then reduction in the levels of personal and corporate taxation. If we talk about taxation of India, then it was quite a ridiculous amount that government was charging from the population. From before 1991, the tax rate was 77%. I am repeating again, the rate of tax was 77 percentage. See how this figure was framed. If you are earning more than 70,000 rupees, if you are earning more than 70,000 rupees, then the basic tax rate will be 70% plus 10% will be surcharge. Surcharge is taken over and above your tax rate. So 70%, 10% of 70% will be 7 and basic tax rate was 70%. So total tax you need to pay was 77%. Just think how much you can have in your hand as a remaining balance. If you are earning 100 rupees over and above 70,000 rupees, then you need to pay 77 rupees to government and only 33 rupees will be in your hand. How much a people is working hard to earn and how much they are really having for spending. It is only 33 rupees. So there was no motivation in the public to work hard and to earn more, because they were knowing if they will earn more they cannot enjoy their income. Their income will go to the government treasury and they will be working like a donkey only, a hard worker only. They cannot enjoy their income. So there was no motivation to work hard. Due to that reason, as a relaxation, what government has done, now the tax rate maximum it is 30%, and in 1991 the maximum tax rate was 40%. So now 60% can be enjoyed by the public and 40% you need to pay to the government. I am talking about the maximum tax rate. There is also 10% as a tax rate. Slabs are there, but I am talking about only maximum tax rate. Then reduction in restriction on foreign investment. FERA and FEMA. FERA means the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act and FEMA means Foreign Exchange Management Act. Investment simply means what? If any foreigner wants to purchase the securities, means shares and debentures of Indian company, then earlier there were the restriction, but now it is not so. Going deep into this point, basically there are two routes. One is a direct route, means direct way, and second is indirect way. Direct way means what? A foreigner can directly purchase the securities of Indian company, that will be known as a direct route. Second is indirect route, means a foreigner, after taking the permission of government, can purchase the securities of Indian company. Definitely if there is an indirect route, the procedure will be lengthy and there is a chance they may not get permission. So in indirect route, the foreign investment will be less, and indirect route foreign investment will be high. In 1991, we were following indirect route, but after that we have switched over from indirect route to direct route. Now only few areas are there. If foreigner want to purchase the securities of that particular business area, like banking is there, then airlines are there, then in that areas only they need to take the permission. For other industries, for other businesses, they need not to take permission. So that is about reduction in the restriction of on foreign investment. And you will be surprised to know that after that reduction in the restriction, India became the second country to welcome the foreign investment. Again, China is on the first rank to have the highest forest investment, and India stood at a second rank. Though the situation has improved as compared to our 1990s situation. Another steps that government has taken are opening up the areas hitherto reserved for public sector. Hitherto simply means up till now. See, before 1991, only public sector were there and private sector were less. Means private sector was not given permission to enter in the areas where public sector were doing business. But after 1991, what was the situation? Only 18 sectors, 18 businesses are reserved for the public sector, and in rest of the sectors, means almost in every area, private sector can enter and do the business. Again, this limit is reduced. 18 sector was reduced to 5 only. Now only for the 5 areas permission are required, and except 5 areas, if you want to do any kind of business, you are free to do. Being a public, being a private public, you can enter in any of the business areas. Then next is partial privatization of public sector unit. See, privatization simply means what? When public sector is sold to the private sector, it is known as privatization. There is a deep meaning of privatization we will see in the second part of privatization, but up till now, you just remember that privatization simply means when public sector is sold to the private sector. Here it is written partial privatization, means 100% equity shares of public company are not sold to the private sector. Only up to 49 or up to 50% equity shares are sold to the private sector. So that is known as partial privatization. See, what is the utility of partial privatization? By that way, 50% of the capital's money the government can back from the public, means that much money will not be invested in the public sector. They can have cash on hand and government can utilize it for the welfare purpose of the country. Then softening of MRTP regulations. MRTP simply means Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practices Act. See, what was the idea of MRTP? Not to create monopoly in a market, not to do unfair trade practices, and not to do restrictive trade practices. I am repeating again, not to create monopoly in a market, not to do unfair trade practice, and not to do restrictive trade practices. The biggest idea was about not to create monopoly. See, before 1991 it was the situation to register your business and to get the license. So what was the situation at that time? You need to register the size of your business and the activities you are doing in your business. It means if you want to expand your business, if you want to change the level of activity, then again you need to take license from the government, and government will not give you the permission, because after doing expansion your size of business will increase. A small scale enterprise can be converted into large scale enterprise, and being a large scale enterprise, by purchasing small units from the market, you can create monopoly. So government will not allow any private person to have a large scale organization. Everyone was allowing to operate at a small scale level and a medium scale level, so that monopoly cannot be created in a market. But it was demotivating factor. Why? Because if you cannot expand the business, the ambition of businessmen cannot be satisfied. They will not remain in your country, they will leave the country and they will go to the country where they can get a full sky to expand their wings. So as a step of softening MRTP, what was done now? Government is giving permission to establish another branch. Government is giving permission to expand your business. Then last step was making various sectors of Indian economy competitive on global economic platform by making them produce quality goods in a cost effective manner. See, uh, from 1990s, from the beginning of our independence, at the time of our independence, the export of India was at less and the import of India is at peak point. So we need to reverse the situation. We need to increase our export. We need to reduce our import. But how can you export more if your quality of your goods is globally competitive? Means if you are producing the most qualitative product, then it can be sold out in a global market, otherwise not. So government was helping Indian economy, some of the sector of Indian economy, to produce export quality goods. So these are the few steps that was taken by Indian government to have the liberalized economy, to have loose norms, loose rules and regulations of Indian economy. Now let us see the path of liberalization. It means what corrections Indian government has done. First one is relief for the foreign investors. See, this will be the repetition only, because we have seen that what steps government has taken. So out of from them only, these are the path that government has done. First is relief for the foreign investor. At that time I told you about direct route and indirect route, direct way and indirect way. Direct simply means a foreigner can purchase the security of Indian company at any point of time, and indirect simply means foreigner first of all need to take permission of government and then they will invest in a Indian market. So now direct route is applicable, not indirect route. Second is devaluation of Indian rupees. So this is something new. Devaluation simply means when you are reducing the money value of rupee, reducing the money value of rupee. Say for example, 1 rupee is equal to $70 and 1 rupee is equal to $75. It means the Indian rupee value is reducing. Done. So why devaluation is done? Devaluation is done simply to improve, simply to increase export of our country. The concept of devaluation we will learn in detail when we will see the globalization. But till now you just remember devaluation means reducing the money value of rupee. Then third one is new trade policy. You know that Indian government has abolished the licensing system, that is the new trade policy. Then Removal of import restriction. I have talked about the quotas, that earlier quotas were in operation, but now quotas are not there. In any amount you can import from the other countries. Then liberalization of NRI remittances, payment and transfer of funds. See, what is NRI remittances? Say for example, from any family, one of the member went to the foreign for earning purpose. You have seen such kind of families in the society, that some members of the family went to the foreign for earning purpose. So regularly, on every month or every 6 months, they are spending money, sending money from that country to our country. So earlier it was the higher tax was charged on the foreign remittances, but now the lesser tax are charged on the foreign remittances, means NRI remittances. Then freedom to import technology. Earlier, it was not at all allowed to import any machinery from the foreign countries, but now for the industry purpose, for the production purpose, if you want to purchase any machinery, then definitely you can import this machinery. Then encouraging foreign tie-ups. Earlier foreign companies are not allowed to enter in the India. Before 1991, globalization was not there. Indian government was not allowing foreign multinational companies to enter into the India and to do the business. And they were also not allowing Indian company to do the merger with the foreign companies. But after 1991, multinational companies are allowed, and also Indian companies are allowed to do the merger with the foreign companies. And as a result, Hero Honda came into existence, Maruti Suzuki came into existence. So many Indian companies have done their foreign tie-ups. Then MRTP relaxation. Earlier also I told you the purpose of MRTP was not to create monopoly in a market, not letting anyone to create monopoly in a market. So government was not allowing to expand the business, but now government is allowing to expand the business. Then privatization of public sector. We have seen the partial privatization. Privatization simply means selling public sector to the private sector. So these are the few steps that Indian government has taken for adopting liberalization. That is all about liberalization. The second topic is privatization, that we will see in our next lecture.